Thank you, everyone, for downloading this episode of the Nerdball Podcast. I am Lorenzo. This podcast is brought to you by my basement as I sit here surrounded by stuff. If I could pan this camera around, you could see, like, man, this is where he records his podcast. There's things everywhere. Normally, I got to kick things out of my way just to get to the table where this computer is sitting on. So, anyway, if you would like this to sponsor this podcast, in some cases, I'm just looking for like $20 a month. Throw me $20 a month. I'll say your name. I'll say your business. You can come on the podcast. We'll do all that stuff for as little as $20 a month, $10, something. Help offset the cost of this thing. As we get into the episode, you'll hear there's some new things I found that I really like for the podcast. It just costs a little bit of money. So if you're looking to sponsor a podcast, choose this one, the Nerdball Podcast. Thanks to all of you, as always, for listening, downloading, sharing, subscribing. This podcast wouldn't be anywhere without all of you, and I can't appreciate it enough. Reach out. We're all on social media, so just search the Nerdball Podcast on any social media. If you are on a social media and you search it and we're not there, let me know so I can also be on that one. There's just because I need to make sure the Nerdball name is everywhere. And I did start doing social media clips, TikToks. So check that out. Hopefully as of this recording, that's still going on. But I did start doing those, which is fun. I even got several tens of likes on one, which I thought was pretty cool. So keep checking those out. Search the Nerdball Pod on TikTok and YouTube. If you want to watch me say these words to you, then check out YouTube. Subscribe there. Almost 150 subscribers. So please do that. All right, this intro has been going on long enough. My guest today reached out to me, asked me on the podcast, and I said yes. It's as easy as that. Reach out, and you too can be on the Nerdball Podcast. So again, I appreciate y'all for listening, and hope you enjoy the episode.
This is Anthony Martinez, and you're listening to the Nerdball Podcast.
This is the Nerdball Podcast with Lorenzo Melcher.
All right, thanks, Anthony. You almost fumbled it, much like I just fumbled your name, but that's all right. It's early in the morning.
That's all right, yeah.
It's amazing. I don't get as many no's as I do when I say I record on Saturday and Sunday morning at 9 a.m.
I mean, with kids, it's like you're probably going to be up anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say, I think with kids, yeah, people are aware, like, oh yeah, he has kids, he's got other things he's got to do, got to fit this thing in. So first of all, I do want to say I do appreciate you. I think people are afraid to, but I appreciate you reaching out and say, hey, can I come on the podcast? Because I tell people that all the time, like, just let me know if you want to come on, let me know. And this is a testament, like, hey, yeah, if you ask, I'll get you on. Like,
I always want to ask like more often, but I'm like, I don't want to be the guy who's on like every like once a month.
Hey, as long as you're bringing something to the table and we're not just sitting here and I'm just like, all right, Anthony, like, what else then? Like,
yeah,
and we're good, man.
Yeah,
but you always have. I was just thinking about that today. You always have such good ideas, and you did a couple podcasts. You did that game show. Like, they're really cool ideas. And then, much like anything else, like, it's life and other things take priority, and you just can't do it anymore. But you always have cool ideas. I really like them.
Yeah, thanks. I just wish I had more people like wanting to do them. That's like the biggest problem is I need to find something that's like maybe just me and one other person. It's like a one consistent person, and we could do something. But right now, when it's me trying to find other people to do stuff with, it's like you probably get it's very like hot in the beginning, and then it just kind of falls off.
Yeah, and in your case, like, the movie one you did was really cool. I like that. It's a lot of work on your end too, because hey, you got to watch a movie, you got to make these questions, you got to do all this stuff, and then the other person also has to watch a movie, which I'm assuming they picked a movie that they like, but
Yeah,
just like me, I rewatched it. I was taking notes. I was doing this, I was paying attention to, like, because I knew you were gonna ask questions. So, like, it is work on two people's end, and to get that on a consistent basis is probably something you're not getting paid for. Is probably difficult to do.
Yeah. Same way with the trivia, where it's a bunch of work on my end, and then half the time, like I'm like, okay, let me set this up and let me give myself some time to actually make the quiz before I talk to people, and then we set it out like a month in advance sometimes, and then they just like, oh, I can't do it anymore, and then oh, well, there goes all that work that I did.
How did you? I don't know enough about like setting that kind of stuff up, but how did you like make that? Because it is like you have all their pictures and you can keep score and you have all the questions. Like, what do you make that on, or what is that?
So that I want to say it's called like canva.com. Let me hold on, I can look it up really quick.
Okay, because I wasn't sure if it was
Yes.
like a Twitch thing or something. Or
So I used OBS, which is like one of the bigger like streaming things that people use,
okay,
where that gives you like that connects your stream to whatever like website you want to use it to or send it to.
okay,
And then I used Canva, which does a lot of like what's it called? For the free version, it gives you a bunch of like templates that you can use, and you can kind of mess with those templates.
mm-hmm.
If you pay, they give you like better templates. But
Just
so
paying.
I pretty much just found one of those and then edited it to fit with the game show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it was a cool thing too. Because when you first said you were going to do it, I don't know. I mean, whenever I learn things on a computer, it's for a very specific purpose, and it's like, all right, well, I made it this far, and now I got to like do this last thing I don't know how to do to get to what I need, and then like I'm not going to spend time like learning other things that I might need. I just do it on a need to know basis, and that's how I've been getting along on this podcast. You know, well, just like last week, I found this this ad that's been hounding me the past few weeks. It's called like Opus Clips,
Mm-hmm.
and you can put your podcast, your video into this AI, and it pulls out um clips that they think might be like good for social media. And
Yeah.
it does it for you. It puts subtitles. It's the ones I made this week. I don't know if you saw those. It's the ones I made this past week, and it was pretty cool. It was awesome. It did all that work for me. I put it right before I went to bed, and then the next morning I woke up and I had 29 clips that I could use if I wanted
Dang.
to. And just like anything, it costs money. So I'm debating like whether to do that because it is a huge time saver. But then I feel like I gotta drop something. Like I might drop Zoom. Like I use Zoom and I pay for it, but the only reason I pay for it is because if you have more than two people, it limits you. So if you have three or more, it costs money, or it doesn't cost money. You only get like 45 minutes or something per
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like balance all this stuff where I pay for this podcast that doesn't pay me, and it's not just me. Like
Yeah.
it's my wife. So I gotta figure this out. But just finding those tools is, like I said, a need to know thing, and some of them work and some of them don't. I have this stupid Adobe thing on my computer, and I can't figure out how to get it off because I was going to use it for something, and then I ended up not using it. And now every time I log in, I get an email saying that Adobe's failed to sign in. I'm like, I don't even know where Adobe is on my computer.
That's great. Yeah.
I gotta take a
I
second.
I understand that, like, where you're trying to find something to help you, but then it's like, all right, this is going to cost money. So do I want to get rid of it? Or do I want to use this that's going to be helpful? Or do I want to remove something else that's already helpful?
Yeah,
It's annoying.
I just need
Just get
like
rich.
I need someone to all it takes. I need someone to sponsor this podcast for literally $25 a month, and
Yeah.
it'll cover most of my operating expenses.
Yeah, get on it. What are you doing?
I
You don't
always
got
put it.
anything. You don't got anything else to do.
Yeah, I always put at the top about like this episode brought to you by my basement or whatever. And now I've been saying that, and then I was like, hey, if you just want me to say your name here, just throw me some money, and I'll just say your name. Like, it doesn't have to be a business. But anyway, I didn't get to my first question. I wanted to talk to you about that because it is to me it's very impressive how creative you can be, you specifically, because of like all these ideas you have. And unfortunately, you have children and you have work and you have all this stuff, but it is impressive because these things don't come out of nowhere, and it is hard work to do all this stuff. And I just wanted to mention that because it's cool to see.
I do appreciate that. I just wish I had ability to keep it up on my end.
Yeah. And you're right. Having someone to do it with you, or like this podcast, there is no homework besides me like um trying to find guests. And in like
Yeah.
your case, you just texted me. I didn't even have to do anything. So but Anthony, what just the question I asked everyone, what have you been nerding out about lately? Something you're into. You know the drill. Like what is
Yeah.
something you're doing now?
Thanks to TikTok, I've gotten back into wrestling.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you're into it or if you've been into it at any
Uh
point in time.
I'm aware of wrestling. Never and once in my life have I sat down and be like, I want to watch this wrestling event. So
Yeah, I used to watch it a long time ago. Like my grandpa liked it, so I watched it with him. And then after that, I was like watching it on my own for a while. And then I want to say probably like seventh or eighth grade, I just kind of just stopped until like 6 months ago.
wow.
And
And,
I got
and it
into
was
it again.
because like you're just seeing all these TikTok videos.
Yeah, I would like see a clip on TikTok and I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then another one like a couple days later, and then all of a sudden it's just like every day I see like 10 clips of wrestling. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll watch this again.
Is it hard to get back into wrestling? Because in my mind, wrestling is like you know, obviously it's a TV show, but it's like a drama or a sitcom where it's like these stories are just constantly developing and moving around. Was it difficult to do it, or did they change enough where you can just hop back in?
It's like a little bit of both. I was because of the TikTok that I was watching, it was like one guy specifically, and it was mostly him reacting to different. Like he watches the show and then like will clip all of the stuff and like have his reaction to it. So sometimes he'll kind of talk about what's going on during it. So that was helpful. But then there's other things where right now, like the big champion has been the champion for like 3 years now. So I don't know any of like the beginning of him being a champion. I just know like the past 6 months. And the past 6 months has been like garbage. And I get like annoyed every time he's on the screen.
What's his name?
Roman Reigns.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I so the little bit of wrestling I know, I listen to a podcast, Bill Simmons podcast, and it's all sports, but he talks about wrestling from time to time, and that's what he was. Sometimes he compares like NBA to wrestlers or whatever, and that name is very familiar to me. Yes.
Yeah, it's like every match is like he's part of the bloodline where it's like people like from his family who are like wrestling with him.
Yeah.
And so every match will end up one of his family members interfering in some way and then them winning, which I understand is like a thing in wrestling, but he wrestles like once every like 2 months
Oh, really?
compared to other people who are wrestling like every week. And so it's just like really annoying to watch this guy barely ever wrestle, and then every time the matches end the same way every time. It's just annoying. I didn't get to see like him at the beginning, so I have no appreciation for him compared to some other people who like watched his rise and are like, I don't know, no nostalgia.
Well, I would imagine there's a lot of people like you that are coming in like a year in, 6 months in. You're catching you're just new again to this that feel the same way. Like, who is this guy's dumb? Who is this guy?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite wrestler right now?
Um,
Right now,
I think there's a couple of people that I enjoy a lot.
boy, if you would have said Roman Reigns, that would have been a plot twist.
No. There's a guy named LA Knight who is like pretty much like if it's like this generation's Rock, kind of
Okay,
like The Rock, where just he's like really good on the mic and like I don't know why everybody loves him. Every time he gets out there, like he does this whole thing is like LA Knight, yeah, like that's what he'll say his name is, and
okay.
then like the whole crowd will chant, yeah. It's crazy.
And when you get the whole crowd with you,
Mhm.
yeah, you're I gotta feel because it's such like a contractual thing with wrestlers. Like if you're doing good, you're probably gonna be around for a while. If you're not doing well, or you realize they're writing less and less for you, you're like, oh man, this ain't going well. But if you got crowds like chanting your call, then you got to feel
Mhm.
good about sticking around for a while.
Yeah, that's another thing about only watching it for like the past 6 months is even now I'm still getting there'll randomly be a wrestler that like pops up, and like nobody's surprised that they're there. Like apparently they've been here this whole time, but just I haven't seen them a single time until now. And it just gets a little confusing. I'm like, wait, why does anybody know who this guy is who hasn't
Uh,
been around, but people are pretending like he's been here the whole time.
you're just a noob now.
But that's what I've been doing a lot lately. Just
So
watching
yeah, yeah, that's something in my life. I've never been a part of that scene at all, and maybe because my friends that I hang out with, like they never watch wrestling. Maybe if I would have moved to Perrysburg sooner, because the group, my friend group here was huge into wrestling in like junior high. Like they would have wrestling matches in their backyard. Like they would like do all these things. Even my brother-in-law Jake was part of that where in junior high where he like would do all these shows and everything. And but when I lived in Toledo, it just wasn't my thing. And neither no, I mean I only had 13 kids in my 8th grade. So like if you didn't get one of us, you didn't get any of us. So but yeah, it just escaped me, which good or bad, I don't know. I don't dislike wrestling. It's not something I want to watch.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
With my limited time.
Yeah, it's mostly me watching TikToks of it and not having to spend the whole like I don't have to watch any of the whole things because I just watch it all on TikTok where instead of it being like a 2-hour show, it's only like 15 minutes of me on TikTok.
Have you watched? I know my wife has done it where it seems like you're watching a movie at 5-minute increments on TikTok. Like my wife has, well, she's like, I got to see how this ends, and it's like TikTok part 37. Like, okay, at that point, maybe you should just find a show.
I don't. I have tried to at times, but there's so many TikTok like people out there who will just do like 2 minutes of an episode or something.
Yeah.
And then that's it of that whole thing. And it won't even resolve what the first thing was. And
Yeah.
I get so irritated. So I'm like, I just try to scroll past those anytime I see it at all. Cause I'm just like, I'm done. I already know you're not gonna show me what I want to watch. Or I'm gonna have to like go onto your TikTok and find where the next episode is. Like I don't want to deal with it.
It gets me every time because usually those little clips are really good, and then you're right. You go into their TikTok, you find that you try to find the other videos. I tell you what, the best thing that TikTok does is when you're watching a clip and then you go to that profile, it takes you to where that clip is, in their whole list of things. So if there is multiple parts, it takes you right to it, and you can watch it. But I do that all the time. I go into comments, figure out what's the name of the show or the movie, and the comments are terrible for that. They're always like giving you like the wrong thing or whatever.
That is one of my favorite things is where like you'll like go to the comments and try to look for it, but it's always like, oh, I guess I'll watch this show again, but they always do just the completely wrong show.
It's so funny.
When I know what they're talking about, it's funny, but when I'm like really trying to find out what it is, I get irritated.
That's what they love. They love your irritation. So I tell my children when they're fighting with each other, I go, you realize if you just don't say anything to them, they'll stop whatever annoying thing they're doing. Like, how do you think we parent our entire lives?
I know my kids I have my oldest son is 6 and my middle son is almost 3. And anytime the 2-year-old is like messing with my oldest son, I'm like, just walk away. Like, just go somewhere else and you'll be fine. But he's like, no, I want to play right here. It's like, well, then he's just going to keep irritating you. It's just ridiculous.
Do you find that you are concerned isn't the word, but what do I want to say? Like, I always feel more compassion for Mateo because I feel like he gets the brunt of the getting in trouble because he's the older kid, and not so much now because they're 12 and 9, but when they're a little bit younger, like he was always getting in trouble for doing something when it was probably Lillian's fault, but she's tiny, and but now I think about it, it's like we like shaped his personality a little bit where because of like how we parent, because he's the older sibling. It's just different, and sometimes I feel bad for him. Where now it's on the flip side where I'm paying attention a little bit more, and I'll tell Mateo like, all right, don't do that, and then but I also tell Lillian like, You realize why he's doing that to you is because you did X, Y, or Z.
Yeah, I do. I have noticed that where for a while I was just yelling at him, like whenever something would happen, and now I'm like trying to like be like, okay, I know why you did what you did. You shouldn't have done it anyways, but and then I'll try to like adjust the 2-year-old, but
Yeah.
he's also 2, and like punishments don't matter to 2-year-olds. They don't care. They'll just do something else.
Yeah, you're right. Punishments don't matter, and you telling them something that's corrective, it's probably not going to sink in for a minute. So, like that's why it is easier to go to the older one because they understand a little bit more. But it's unfair sometimes.
Yeah, but he also likes to hit people, so I'm like, most of the time, this is your fault. I know. I'm paying attention. I know you just hit him because he's near your toy. So,
My brother, my parents used to tell me this story, or we talk about the story where on Saturday mornings, my parents would be woken up by me crying watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or something, and it's because my brother was messing with me. But my brother wasn't even messing with me. And this particular story, he was just staring at me, and I was just crying. And I was too little to remember, but my dad tells me he remembers yelling from the room, "What are you doing to him? Stop doing that. What are you doing to him? I'm just staring at him." Well, quit staring at him.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's just the nonsense that kids do for no reason.
Yeah.
Like if my son's playing with the toy, if my middle son is playing with the toy near my oldest son gets mad. It's like he's trying to take my toys. He's not even paying attention to you. Just leave him alone. You just pushed him over for no reason.
Tell you what, though, it's a pretty impressive skill to be staring at someone and just make them cry. Like you never want to be apparently some sort of fucked up staring contest. The ultimate winner.
Yeah. I don't know if you do this, but I accidentally stare at people all the time. Like if I'm just in public, I'll just be like thinking of something, but I'll be looking in a direction, not even paying attention, and then they will like look at me, and then it'll like come into realization that I was staring at somebody, and I'm like, oh shit, how long was I looking at this person?
I don't think I do that. No, I don't accidentally stare at people. But I noticed not what I do, but I noticed like my sisters does this, and I noticed other people do it. There's someone at work that does this too, where they will stare into space, and it's not like if I'm just staring at you, not necessarily a conversation, but if we're in a meeting and they're not really involved in the conversation, they'll just like drift off and like stare, but not stare regular eyes. Their eyes get like really big. And if you're seeing it, go to YouTube if you're just listening, and they're just like real big, nothing's moving, not blinking, and then all of a sudden there's like and like and it's like nothing. It's like what the fuck? One of my sisters does that.
That's how I probably am when I'm looking at people.
Like it's one thing to stare at space, but why do you got to make your eyes so big? Like
it's a thinking face.
Man, that's like a resting bitch face. Now you gotta. I don't know which one's worse. Would you rather look mean all the time or just have wide eyes staring into space for no reason?
I think I would rather look mean all the time.
Yeah.
I usually don't like people to talk to me, so if I can, I can
exactly
avoid
what my
that.
dad says. That's why my dad says he likes the way he does. Although now I think in his older age and he's retired now, I think he looks for that a little bit more, but not as much as you would think.
Yeah, when I was working at Kroger, there was like employees that I talked to a lot, and then like other ones that I like kind of ignored.
Yeah,
not for any reason, just like I didn't know them. So then one day I was like, I'm gonna try to talk to more people that I work with that I see often. And then the first person I talked to, it was like early in the morning. I was like, hey, how's it going? And she was like, I'm tired of all these people dying. I said, oh, this is why I don't talk to people. Like, what is going on? I barely know
did you ask her to elaborate?
No, I didn't. They just kind of ended that conversation.
Like, all right, I'm going to go back into my shell. Thank you.
Yeah, I tried. Don't talk to anybody anymore.
You're like one experience, and for years it just shut it down. Like that's how fragile. Like just humans are in general. Like if you try a new thing, it didn't work. All right, I'm never doing that for the next 16 years. I'm good.
That was the worst experience in my whole life. My wife is like that with foods. If she has a food from a place that was bad one time, it's like, okay, we're never going there again. We're not even gonna attempt it. Even though
Yeah,
the food I had was great, like it doesn't
forget
matter.
you. The kids loved it. You loved it.
Yeah.
I know people who will love a restaurant. They'll go to it, love all the food, the drinks, whatever they get, and then they'll have one bad experience, and then they'll never go back. I'm like,
That's
all right, you've
crazy.
been going to this place for like years. You have one bad experience, and you just shut it down, man.
It's like divorcing your wife for one argument. Like you you guys have been in a perfectly happy marriage for 20 years and then you guys had one small argument and you're like, I'm done.
I'm out of here.
I'm out of here.
That's again going back to how fragile humans are. Like, we're the opposite. Like we've gone to a lot of places, and but we have kids, so we like to go out to eat, and our favorite place is Chili's for, well, I say our, but it's mostly the kids. And when you have kids and when you find a place that the kids will eat at, it's less fights. Like, all right, we're going out to eat. I don't want to go out to eat. Well, we're gonna go to Chili's. All right, I love it. Let's go. But when we're there, we go there so much that the general manager knows us, talk to us, and and there's a couple waiters and waitresses that we really like, and we chat it up, and then something bad happens. We're like, hey, this isn't right, or whatever, and then we send it back, or they help us out in the bill, and go about our day. But some people are just like, nope, never again. Like, fuck, man.
People who are rude to wait staff, like how do you
I
I don't understand how you're a functioning person today. Like you have to talk to people all the time when you're out. How do you not understand that their life is so much like harder when they're at work than yours is?
yeah,
Crazy.
I cringe so much about that. Like there was one time we were at a restaurant downtown, and we were sitting already, our whole family, and the hostess was bringing these two guys, and they sat them at a table, and one of the guys is like, well, we couldn't find any parking. Is it free? Is the parking free on the weekend downtown? And she's like, I don't know. Well, can you go find out for me? Like, can you go find out, please? Just like that. And I'm
That
like,
is
what the
ridiculous.
yeah. And
They,
so,
they don't work downtown. Like
like,
that's ridiculous.
He's like, I just moved here, so I don't know. Well, can you find someone who knows? Like, fuck, man. All right.
Can you find someone who knows? Like,
Yeah, use your phone or something,
yeah,
man.
exactly.
And then it threw me off like the whole night. Like I was sitting right next to him, and I was like trying to hear the conversations and see what this guy like get into or whatever. But man, it was wild. I felt bad yesterday. We went to a restaurant and we ordered, and then Andrea saw something else that I was like, oh, she's like, oh, I might like that. So I was like, well, I can get her. I was like, excuse me, and I kind of like, it was a tiny restaurant, but I kind of like yelled across the restaurant, and she came back, and the first thing I said was, I'm sorry for yelling at you across the restaurant. I didn't mean to. She might want something different. She goes, no, it's fine, it's fine. And like I kept apologizing for it, and then I apologized to Andrea. I was like, I'm sorry, I embarrassed you. And she was good about it. She goes, no, she goes, you just want me to have what I want. I was like, yeah, but I probably could have gone about it a different way.
No, yell across the room as loud as you can. Get everyone's attention. My wife needs something different. She ordered the wrong thing.
Oh my god. I love seeing videos, and those are TikToks that pop up on my feed every once in a while, where people are like the waiters or waitresses are talking back, and their managers talking back to that person. Like, it reminds. Have you seen the movie Waiting?
Yes.
That's one of my favorite movies. I haven't watched it in a long time, but it's so good. It's good. It's gross. It's everything. And like I always remember, I think it's at the beginning where they're just like painting the restaurant and like hearing people talk. Like, I understand this steak was overcooked, but did you have to eat the whole thing?
Yeah, that's what I'm glad I never worked in a restaurant, because I know I couldn't deal with everybody's nonsense. You cleaned the whole plate. Like, what do you mean you didn't like it?
Yeah. I worked at one restaurant, but I was the dishwasher, so I never once like went out front. So I was good there. Yeah, because I feel the same way. Like I don't know if I could bite my tongue enough to like. I'm so outspoken. Where maybe in my before I became so as outspoken as I am, where I now yell across restaurants. I don't know if I could bite my tongue enough to not say something to that person, and I would have to have decided that I was quitting that day if I was going to say something to somebody.
Like, this is my last day. I'm not taking any rudeness. Okay, you can't get me fired because I'm gone today.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if like a waiter's ever done it. Like, all right, just so you know, I put my 2 weeks in. This is the last day of those 2 weeks. I don't give two shits about your experience. What would you like?
I will be as nice to you as you are to me. So just start it off like that, and then go about your day.
Like, don't even introduce yourself. You're just like, I will be as nice to you as you are to me. Hello, my name is so. What would you like today?
That's why I'm glad I'm finally out of customer service jobs.
Oh,
Like, I
okay.
worked at Kroger for
Yeah.
like 11 years, and then I worked at Buckeye for 2 years, and like that was all just helping customers for the most part. The whole the whole like first 13 years of my life, and now I'm at GM, and I'm just like working on computers all day, so I don't have to talk to people. Nobody's there to like complain about what happened. I just get to do my job and go about my day.
Seems like everyone's dream is not to just don't talk to me right now and we'll be good. Yeah.
Some
What
people like people.
do you have to go in to the office or anything for GM for your new job
Most
or
yeah,
newer job?
yeah. I don't have to all the time. Like, some things I could do from like my computer at home, but for the most part, I'm usually at the plant.
Which one?
The one on Alexis. The
Okay, nice. That's where
Yeah.
my dad retired from there. Um and I remember as a kid like seeing it and thinking like, man, that place it looks so massive. Like I was like would think of my dad going in there and like as a kid you're like, how does he know where he's going? Like it's so big and is it still that weird green color, like seafoam green
Yeah,
color?
they didn't. They're not gonna spend the money to color it. Like,
It just seems
it's gonna stay that
it just
forever.
seems so weird. Like the color of that building, but that's what I remember about that building. I don't know, I don't know why.
Yeah, yeah, it is like a very distinct color. But
Mm.
yeah, it's like so they have parking for people who have a
Yeah,
GM car and then people who don't. I don't have a GM car, but my wife does. So sometimes I get to drive her car and I get to park close. But for the most part, I'm parking in the farthest parking lot. So it's like a 5 to 10 minute walk from my car to the to where I have to go. It's like, this is ridiculous, man. If it's like cold or raining or something outside, I'm just like irritated the whole time I'm walking in.
you're
This is too
already
far
mad.
away. I'm just gonna go home. I don't even want to come in today.
You're gonna tell those computers off.
I'm gonna break one on purpose today.
Before we got on, you were talking about. I made a comment about all those screens in the background, and you mentioned you were playing video games, not on those screens, but on your own
Yeah.
screen that you're staring at now. What video games do you play, or
um.
that you've been playing?
So mostly League of Legends, but I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3 a bunch.
Wait, say it again.
Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate. What is that?
So it's pretty much they made Dungeons and Dragons into a video game.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's insane how many things you can do in this game. Where they've made it like almost as close to playing Dungeons and Dragons with your friends as you could make a video game. Like, if you have a dumb idea where you like, okay, I want to like throw this like barrel with explosives at these people, like, all right, you can do that. You can do almost anything you want in that game, and it's insane.
I discovered. Um, so there's someone that works at are you playing Pal World? And I was like, I looked
Yeah.
into Pal World, and what I discovered about myself is I don't like open world games. They're okay. And for a while, like when Breath of the Wild came out, I really got into that. But Mateo, we had just got as Nintendo, so he'd go to bed. The kids would go to bed, and then I'd pop on the TV and I'd play for an hour or so every night. I got into it, but I don't like open world games, and I figured it out because anytime I play one, I have to have like I remember back in the day they had walkthroughs like books,
Yeah.
and you just page by page, and there's apps for that now. So that's how I was playing Breath of the Wild, because I don't like open world games because I don't want to miss anything, and
Yeah, I know what you mean.
it bothers my brain if I get so far and then I'm like, oh, I didn't do this thing, or I didn't see this thing, or whatever. I got to make fire, or I got to make clothes to go into this cold area or whatever. Like it really bothers me. So I'm just used to just, here's the track, here's where you're going, and this is what you're doing.
Yeah, I get that. When I was younger, I remember going through the Legends of Zelda, Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
And I tried playing it without any kind of walkthrough, and I'm like, man, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And then I like looked up a walkthrough, and I was just like cruising through the game, like, yeah, this is amazing. I don't want to have to learn like by myself anymore. I'm just gonna follow this and
That's how I'd love to play. Like I would play Pokemon on my Game Boy like that. Like, all right, okay, you do this. All right, now next, go do this. And then, all right, before you fight Brock, you need to have Pokemon at least this level, and it's best to have these kind of Pokemon. And my brother would play Resident Evil, and that was it wasn't an open world game, but it was like, if you don't do these things, then when you get, I just remember playing him or watching him play. He'd be playing for 2 hours, and then he'd have to go back and do something and get something that he did, an 10 minutes
yeah.
after he started. But he was really good at that. But I just I can't do that stuff, man.
Yeah, I need games to like when you give me a quest, I need you to put that on my map where I need to go. And like when I get to that area, if there's a specific item I need that item to be glowing. I don't
Yeah, man, that's perfect. Make video games dumber for me, please.
That's why I usually just play like online PvP games like League of Legends because there's like nothing like I just pick my champion and I play the game. Like I don't have to like do a quest or anything. I'm just like every game it's not the same, but every game I know my objective and I'm just gonna do that thing. And it's just no thought process. Just do what I need to do.
I guess that's why I like sport games so much growing up. That's easy. You just play
Yeah.
this game and you win or you lose. And Fortnite, same way. Like, all right, you hop in this lobby, you go until there's one person left, and
Mhm.
then you're back to doing it again. And I was last night. So they have this new battle, like mini battle pass with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff. So I've been trying to get a bunch of experience points and do all that kind of stuff. And one of the goals, or one of your things that you got to do, is go into creative mode. And I don't play creative mode. It's boring to me. And my son always tries to get me to play with him, and I'll play every once in a while. But I needed, like, that was one of the objectives. You got to get so many experience points. So I was playing in this creative mode last night, trying to get all my experience points. And the game mode is red versus blue, and basically you're on either red team or blue team, and you're just trying to kill the other team, and whoever.
Yeah.
But I don't know when it ends, because I think it just goes on for forever. I played yesterday for almost an hour, and the game was still going on, but like slowly people just drop out, and like, I'm done. And by the end, there was like 4 of us, but I still needed experience points. So this one person kept just like respawning, and I would just headshot, respawn, headshot, respawn, headshot, until I got all my points I needed, and then I dipped out of the game.
I wonder if they were just like they just left their game system on so that people could get points from them. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I got all my points. I'm just gonna leave my computer here. People can just kill me for points.
And then at the end, I was thinking, like, as I was getting towards the end, I'm like, all right, I need a few more here. Like, I was thinking, is this person just like watching me, like headshotting him the whole time? Is like I envision someone like streaming this as I'm doing it. And then there's like 3 players left, not including this respawner. And I was like, all right, I need one more. And just as I was about to hit the shoot button, I got sniped. I'm like, come on, I needed one more, and I'm out of here.
That's amazing.
Oh, but yeah, it's I've been really like diving into Fortnite lately, trying to get all these stupid things. I don't know why. It goes back to me wanting like to collect things all the time, but it was fun. It's fun. And I haven't played with my friends in a while, but I usually do that. And when I coach high school girls basketball, freshmen, and they're like, "Do you play Fortnite?" And I was like, "I love Fortnite." And they like started laughing. I was like, "Do you play?" They're like, "Yeah, I play." I'm like, and they don't expect an almost 40-year-old guy to be playing Fortnite, which is probably they're right.
Yeah, yeah. I Yeah, I know that they have like the no build mode, but still just like
That's
the
what I play.
building in that game like scared me from that game forever. Just I see clips of people building like gigantic towers in like 2 seconds and then like editing them while they're building. It's like I don't know what you're doing. It's like witchcraft to me.
Yeah, yeah. I play no build, and that's the best way to play. Fight me. I I ain't gonna. Every once in a while, I get tricked into doing a build with like Mateo will play, and then I'll come and play after that, and I don't realize been playing build, and so I get in the game like, oh my god, I can't even build a box. Like I don't want to do this.
All right, I'll be hiding in this corner while you guys do this giant tower build fight. Let me know what's over.
There was a guy on TikTok. They his name was Bush Camp Dad, and all he did, he was a green alien skin, and all he did was hide
Just
in
hiding in
bushes.
the
And there's a ranked thing that a game mode, and he made it all the way to like the best rank because
Just
all he did was
hiding in the
hide in
bush.
bushes. Yeah,
That's amazing. Yeah, I like watching the people who are like, okay, I'm not gonna damage anybody and I'm gonna try to win. And so
yeah,
they just like find like one hiding spot and just wait and then hope somebody dies in the in the with the storm and then
yeah,
they win.
yeah. Those are cool. Mateo always he'll be watching on YouTube and he'll show me like, hey, this guy's only using this weapon, or he's only using all gray weapons or whatever, and it is cool to see because it shows. And even with this bush camp dad, they put some Fortnite put something on those like loading screens, and it said like it wasn't specifically for him, but you knew what they were talking about because like, hey, be you could play this game all different kinds of ways, and it had like a picture of a bush or whatever, but but they did get mad at people because they would be helping him, like
Oh,
they would,
really?
yeah. And it's all obviously everyone for themselves, but they would like give him heals and give him a shield and all that stuff, and find them and then not kill them, so that people were
Yeah.
getting in trouble for doing that.
Yeah. I don't know if you ever got into PUBG when that was like
I did
huge.
not.
I loved watching people on YouTube play that game. Like there was a guy who was doing he did the Hitman challenge, like the show or the movie and the game Hitman,
Yeah.
where he like would just use pistols, and then he did another challenge where whenever he killed somebody, he would have to take whatever they were using. So he would have
Oh,
to take their equipment, like their armor and helmet and weapons, and then they'd have to go through that. Even if it's like a downgrade, they have to swap everything and use that other person's thing. So
that's
it
cool.
was a
Yeah. I saw one. I keep seeing it. I've seen it several times. This video on TikTok, and I don't know what game it's from. It could be PUBG. It could be. It's one of those type of games, and where this guy was just like camping out in the tree, and this other guy had like a motorcycle, and I don't know what game it was. Maybe you do. He could fix his motorcycle. Like if it was a flat tire, he could like fix the flat tire. So this
oh yeah,
guy,
that's PUBG. I know what clip you're talking about, where
this
he
guy,
was
he kept sniping his tires.
yeah.
Like he'd fix it, go to the front one, and while he's fixing that one, he'd snipe the back one. They just
Yes, I've seen that clip, and he like was like running from like one vehicle to another, trying to like take yeah, that was good.
yes,
That
he
was a
would take
PUBG.
stuff. It made me laugh. It made me. I mean, some of these, I don't know if that one was, but some of the Fortnite ones that I see are like they're obviously setups. Like they're like, all right, here we're gonna make this video. This is what we need to do. Whatever. They're still cool. It still takes a lot of like coordination to do. But
Yeah.
man, that one was I watched it and I'm like, how many times is this gonna happen? Like, what's happening here? After a while, I'm like, all right, man, I'm just leaving the bike then.
Yeah, they like the determination. Like I know somebody's messing with me, but I'm not gonna deal with it. I'm just gonna keep fixing this bike.
They just love fixing bikes, man.
Yeah, and every time I watch those like challenge game or challenge videos, I'm like, man, I should do this. I'm like, wait, I could barely win like normal playing with no handicaps. How am I? Why would I even try this? I barely play this game anyway. So why,
Hey
why am I
guys,
gonna make
I'm
it
a
10 times
noob, and
harder?
I'm going to try the hardest thing possible.
I can't even win on my own. So let me try to make it even harder.
Have you ever streamed before?
I
Like
did
Twitch
stream
streaming?
a long time ago, but it didn't last very long. It was like the perfect time for me to stream, like because I was working or I was living with my friends, and so this was like me being like having all the free time in the world, like no one to tell me not to do this. So it was like the perfect time for me to stream, but I just couldn't do it.
I I've done it a few times just because anything I can slap the Nerdball podcast name on, I have it. So I have a Twitch stream with that, and I did it a few times, but I need to like to figure out how to set up my like this mic with my Xbox, and I don't know how to do that. So I gotta figure that out because it would be better. And I think Mateo talks about doing it, so it's very easy for me to put both of us in the same camera. And as much as I don't
Yeah.
like playing Fortnite split screen, you can do that on the Xbox. So we've done that a few times. Um, but yeah, I gotta figure out how to get better mics and stuff. But it is fun, and like every once in a while when like one person pops in, you're like, oh okay, one person's here, and I say, you know, I obviously pick up like what I'm talking about or whatever, but
Yeah.
it's a cool thing, and you know I I uh I toy with that, and or like doing lives and stuff every once in a while. But again, just like this podcast started with, it's about time. So
Yep.
the
Yep.
capacity to
It's
do anything.
yeah, no time to really do anything you want to do most of the time. Like right now, like anytime I want to play video games for the most part, I have to wait till the kids are in bed, and then I have to like sacrifice sleep
Yep.
just so I can have a couple hours of video games just to myself. And then half the
Uh,
time, one of the kids will wake up, and then I'll have to deal with that in the middle of a game. Just come on, let me get 2 hours to myself.
Same way, man. That's what happened last night. I was kids went to bed, and it was about 11 o'clock, and I told Andrew like, "Hey, I'm gonna go play video games for a little bit." And came down and played video games for a lot of it, and then went to bed late and I had to set my alarm for 8:30 so I could make sure to wake up in time for this.
Yeah, the other day. So usually Fridays are like I like dedicate Friday nights to playing video games. Like, okay, this is the day I'm gonna stay up late and I'm gonna just get on and play for a long time. And then I got to sleep at like 2. And then my 2-year-old woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, come on, why are you doing this to me?
Yeah.
Go back to sleep.
But you know that's a pot like when you're doing this,
Yeah.
you know that's a possibility.
Yes, yes. I know anytime I don't go to bed at a normal time, there's a good chance that one of my children are gonna wake up and make me regret not waking or going to bed at a good time.
Oh man. Yeah, but that's the time we have, man. That late night time, and we do what we do. I've been staring at this thing in your background where it's under that lamp. It looks like when you used to burn CDs, the CD holder. Like that. I keep staring at it. I was like, I know that's not what it is, but it looks like one of those. Hey, I'm gonna burn this Eminem CD.
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's the base of the lamp. So
Oh, okay.
I think
makes sense.
there's like stickers on it, like the stickers that came on it, like to let you know all the specifications.
Yeah.
I just don't think she's ever taken it off. And now that you say that, that's exactly what it looks like.
Oh man. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on here, and I know we've talked about it in the past but we just have no time. But at some point, we do have to do something together because we've thrown around a few ideas about writing this, or writing that, or doing podcasts or something. So we'll figure something out. Because I think, like I said, you're so creative, and I think with my ability, maybe there's a thing where you can create this thing, and at least on one end create the beginning, and then on my end I can edit and finish everything. So I think we can use our two superpowers together and make
with our powers combined.
we can make some half-assed project. Let's do it. So at some point, you know, we'll start something, and then not finish it, but at least we
Yeah.
tried. Okay.
If we get started, I'll be happy.
All right, Anthony, thanks again for reaching out. Like I said, if you're still listening, if you want to come on, that's as easy as sending me a message and saying, can I come on? And I'll find a date. So Anthony,
You don't have
thanks
to bribe
again.
him or anything. He'll just let you do it.
Yeah. He'll just let you do it. Cool, man. All right. Thanks, Anthony.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks again to my guest, Anthony Martinez, for being on the podcast today. Like I said, at the beginning and in the podcast, it's as easy as that. Reach out to me. We'll schedule a date. You can come on the podcast. I can find out what you're nerding out about and anything else in your life. So hit us up on Gmail, the nerdballpodcast@gmail.com. All social media, search for the Nerdball Podcast. You'll find us wherever you're listening to this. Like it, share it, subscribe, whatever it is you got to do on your podcast platform. And as always, YouTube, search for Nerdball Pod, subscribe there. Doesn't cost you anything, but it helps us out. If we can get to 150 subscribers here soon, that'd be great. And I appreciate you all. As always, thanks to Real JP Multimedia, Cuttlefish Graphics, Big Daddy Graphics, and Perrysburg Junior High STEM Lab for always helping out the podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.